Hello, fourth graders. Thanks for joining me today. We've been talking a lot about the Wax Museum recently, and last week we did a lot of work on our timeline. We found important dates that told us a lot about our person's life and why they were important and made a positive impact in the world. This week, I want to work on the paper that we're going to write. When this paper is said and done, it should be 4 paragraphs long, and we will be working on each paragraph together. Today, I'd like to talk to you about the first paragraph. We will be working on what you need in your first paragraph, and hopefully by the end of this video, you will feel confident in creating your own first paragraph and having it ready for tomorrow. The first paragraph in a paper is sometimes called the lead paragraph or the thesis paragraph. It's the most important paragraph because it engages your reader or listener into what you're talking about. And in this case, it draws them into the person that you were pretending to be or representing. Your lead paragraph is going to have 3 parts, and we will go over each of the 3 parts together. The first part is a hook. Then you'll need to clearly state why your person is well known. And finally, you'll need to state the name of your person. All of this will be done in first person, as if that person is yourself. Let's talk about the first step. The first sentence in your first paragraph is very important, and we like to think about this first sentence as an opportunity to hook your reader. Just like a fish is attracted to a lure, we want your reader or listener to be attracted to your paper. You can see on the screen I have a few suggestions of ways to hook your reader or engage them, make them want to stay and listen to what you're saying. I want to pick out a few hooks from those suggested on the sheet in front of you that really work well with doing things like biographies. The first one I want to talk about is starting with a question. Starting with a question asks your reader to think about what you're saying. Have you ever gone to a swimming pool? In something like a biography or the speech that you're writing, you could ask, have you ever heard of Harriet Tubman? Well, you might know her for this. That question engages your reader and makes them stop and think. The next hook I'd like to talk about is the dialogue. A great way to start a paragraph is to choose a quote that really represents your person. And it could be a quote that they said, or it could be a quote about them that's very engaging, something that really embodies who they are as a person. For Harriet Tubman, we know that she's a famous conductor of the Underground Railroad, but she has a very famous quote that goes like this: I had a right to liberty or death. If I could not have one, I would not have the other. That's a very powerful quote. It makes you think how important freedom was for her and what it represented. And it really motivates her to do what she did and bring many slaves to freedom. That's a great quote that will hook your listener and cause them to want to keep listening to what you're saying. The final hook that I'd like to talk to you about is a fact. Is there a fact about your important person? Something that you think would interest someone who's walking by? That would be a great way to start your paragraph. Any of these hooks would be a great option for you. And since you're the expert on your person, you need to decide what you think would be the most engaging hook, the way to start your very first paragraph on your paper. Right now, I want you to think about what you've learned about your person. In a notebook, I'd like you to pause this video and write down a few different options for hooks. Maybe you'll look up a quote from your person. Maybe you'll ask a few questions. Or maybe you'll bring back a fact that you found out last week from doing your timeline. Write down those 3 hooks now. Now that you have your 3 hooks written out on a sheet of paper, I'd like to share with you the 3 hooks that I came up with them. One of them is a quote in blue. I had a right to liberty or death. If I could not have one, I would not have the other. Notice I have them in quotation marks. If you have a quote from your famous person, make sure they're in quotation marks as well. The next hook that I tried was asking a question in red. Have you ever wondered what the Underground Railroad was? Was it a real railroad? What was it for, and who ran it? Now I used 3 questions. Maybe you only wrote 1. That's okay. Your goal in writing a question is to get your listener or reader to think about things. The last hook that I tried was a fact, and it's in yellow. 300 is a big number when it comes to people. That's how many slaves that I safely brought to freedom without losing even one. You'll notice in this fact that I'm talking in first person, like I'm actually Harriet Tubman. When I say slaves that I brought to freedom, I'm pretending like I'm her, and you should do the same thing with your person. Pretend like you're them, so if you have a fact that you're sharing, make sure you're pretending like it's your fact. You are becoming this person, you're the expert, and you're going to present them on the day of the Wax Museum as if you are really them. Now that you have your 3 hooks, you have to choose your favorite. Looking at the 3 that you have written down, I'd like you to circle the one that you like the best. I'm going to circle my quote. And that's the one I like the best. It's something that she actually said, and it really represents what she believes about liberty and how important it is to her. Even more important than life. If she can't have liberty, she'd rather be dead. That's a pretty powerful statement. Now that you've decided your hook, the hardest part is over. The next part of our lead statement or our lead paragraph is to clearly state what your famous person was known for. And you can do that in a sentence or 2. I'm going to write, I was a famous conductor of the Underground Railroad. Although Harriet Tubman is a lot more than just a conductor, that's the reason why people remember her today. She led 300 people to freedom, and being a conductor is why she's remembered. So I'm going to say that. Now that I've clearly stated why I'm remembered, the last thing I need to say is who I am. And remember, you're saying this in first person. My name is Harriet Ross Tubman. Now that I have those 3 things, in yellow, I have my hook. In red, I've clearly stated why I'm famous. And in blue, I've identified myself clearly. My lead paragraph is done. You should already have your hook written. Now, I'd like you to finish this lead paragraph. Tomorrow, come to school with it written neatly on a sheet of paper. I will be looking at this lead paragraph and you'll be sharing it with your peers. Be ready to show off who your person is and why your person made a positive impact in the world. Thanks for listening. I can't wait to hear what you guys come up with.